Hi, and welcome to another episode of Ted's Everyday Eats on YouTube. Here at Ted's Everyday Eats, we're featuring some great Greek recipes, as well as some dishes from some other cultures. In the first episode, we made my Tiropita, a great, delicious sandwich with a combination of ground beef and ground lamb and some amazing spices. It was a wonderful dish. If you haven't checked out that episode, please make sure to do so now. Today, we're gonna make one of my favorites, tiropitas. So you might know these as cheese puffs or cheese triangles if you've ever had them. These are going to be a wonderful mixture of a few different cheeses inside phyllo dough with a little bit of spices. I think you're going to really enjoy what we're going to make today. Since we're making another Greek dish today, I thought we'd start this out with another shot of metaxa, just like we did in episode 1. So today, we're going to kick off episode 2 with another shot. So before we go through our ingredients, let's talk a little bit about what these tiropitas are. It's a mixture of a few different cheeses and some spices wrapped in phyllo dough. I promise you this is something that you can definitely make at home. It's not extremely difficult, and you're gonna enjoy this much better than a frozen one you would buy at the store. So what do we need today to make this dish? We're gonna have 12 ounces of Greek imported feta. We're gonna have 4 ounces of a keftetti cheese. This is a hard Greek cheese that you can substitute a pecorino romano for. An 8-ounce package of cream cheese at room temperature, 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of salted butter, 1 tablespoon of dried Greek oregano, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and we are going to do 1 tablespoon of rough chopped fresh mint. I promise you the fresh mint is worth it. Go to the store and get some. And then we're gonna use some extra virgin Greek olive oil, and it's gonna be wrapped in phyllo. Why don't we get started with our dish? All right, let's start mixing these ingredients. First, we're gonna put in the crumbled feta. Then we're gonna put in the keftetti, and what I've done is I've just shredded it. Then we're gonna add the 8 ounces of cream cheese, the oregano, the ground black pepper, and the fresh mint. We're gonna take the time to fully combine this with the cream cheese being, of course, a little more difficult. Maybe I should have let it get a little bit more room temperature, but it'll be fine. We're gonna mix this until everything is nice and evenly distributed. Everything is mixed up nice and even. Now we can go ahead and set this mixture aside and begin working with our phyllo. Before we start rolling our tiropitas, we're gonna set our oven to 375. I've got my phyllo all prepared, and what you'll notice that I've done is I've put it between 2 dish towels. The reason for this, phyllo is going to dry out pretty quick, so we want to make sure we keep it covered to keep it moist. The first thing we're going to do, let's open it this way, is we're going to take 1 sheet of phyllo and we're going to lay it down. This is going to be the one that we're going to work with. We're going to cover up the other sheets, and we are going to give it a little drizzle of olive oil. Then what we're going to do, we're going to take another sheet, put it right over it. Give it a light little press down. Some of that oil will peek through. And we are going to give it another drizzle of olive oil. Now, personally, I like to do 3 sheets. So we're going to do 1 more sheet, making sure every time to recover the phyllo so that it does not dry out. Give it 1 more drizzle of olive oil. And this time, and we're going to brush the rest of this oil on. This is going to help connect all of the layers of phyllo as we move forward. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to cut this into quarters. So I'm going to first start by cutting it in half. then cutting that half in half, and then cutting that half in half. And that is what we are going to use to roll our triangles. What we're going to do now is we're going to take about a tablespoon of the cheese mixture, and we're going to put that down onto each of the strips of the phyllo. And you might use a little bit more in one, might use a little bit less in another, but we're going to just go ahead and fill these up. And now we're all set to start rolling these into triangles. So let's get these into some nice triangles. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to roll it into a triangle. I'm going to press it down a little while I do it. I am going to roll again. I am going to roll again. And then once more. And this little guy over here, we're just going to tuck this guy in underneath. And now we have a beautiful cheese puff triangle. So let's go ahead and let's do that another time. We're going to go ahead, put this into a triangle again, back and over one more time. And before we do that, we're going to tuck this guy in. And now we've got another triangle. We're going to finish that with the last two. There we go. Now we've got 4 tiropitas ready to go into the oven. Now that we've finished rolling the tiropitas, we're going to transfer them to a lined baking sheet. I've taken that 2 tablespoons or quarter stick of salted butter, and I'm going to give those tiropitas a little covering, which is going to give them a beautiful crisp color as they bake. Wonderful. Our oven is all set, preheated to 375. We're going to put these in for approximately 20 minutes, and we are going to flip them about halfway through. You may have noticed that while I was combining all of the ingredients, I forgot to put the egg in. And you're right, I did forget. Just like cooking at home, cooking on YouTube sometimes takes its natural course. But don't worry, I added the egg into the mixture off camera while I was finishing combining everything. All right, the 20 minutes is just about up, so let's take these out and see how they look. These look fantastic. And because they're homemade, we'll get a couple that will look amazing and a couple where we get a little cheese that has popped out just like these. But I will tell you a couple things. First, I'm going to move this back here so I don't burn myself. Let's get that out of the way. These are absolutely amazing and one of my favorites. Growing up, these were always a holiday dish for us. Don't know why, because you saw clearly I made it relatively quickly. It's definitely an everyday eat in my book. But as a kid growing up, these would come out of the oven and this is scalding hot. I'm barely touching the corners. And I cannot tell you how many times growing up, I burnt the roof of my mouth on this cheese popping out because I just could not wait. However, I am gonna wait right now because this is a little hot. But what I want everybody to hear is how crispy this phyllo is by the way we made it. So I haven't tested this out. We're gonna see what happens. Let's get that microphone nice and close. You see how crispy that is. And you get this beautiful cheese wrapped in this beautiful phyllo. I want to thank you for joining me on another episode of Ted's Everyday Eats on YouTube. It's fun sharing another dish that I had growing up with you. This is definitely something that you can try for your friends and your family, and I hope you do. Thanks again for joining me. Please make sure to subscribe down below and give me any comments that you have. Is there another dish you'd like to have me try and have me share with you? So thanks again for letting me bring my kitchen to your screen.